cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's time again to cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's the number one podcast. The topics of discussion when we broadcast. So all them artificial man jokes, we do it natural from the concrete to a public standpoint. Real, wherever you're from, life is coexisting, but to know the real, you just gotta listen. Wherever you're from, life is coexisting, but to know the real, you just gotta listen. It's time again.
What up, y'all? You tuned in to the 52 Scott Podcast. This is Music Monday, and I'm your host, Slash. And with me, I got Comedian 96, K Money, Freddie G. Together, we are the Mind of Men. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Scott Podcast. On Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast. All right, and welcome back to Music Monday. Great topic. First, before I get started with the show, I just want to send my prayers out to Scarface, who's in ICU after having his transplant, a kidney transplant, if I'm not mistaken. But over the weekend, he was hospitalized from that situation. So my prayers go out to him. Hope that he makes it,
speedy recovery.
Yeah, we want a speedy recovery, and man, I just want to say God bless. Since God is in the topic today, I want to say that I grew up in a church in 3rd Ward, 4th Missionary Baptist Church under East Stanley Branch. East Stanley Branch had a choir. We had a choir at the church, and it was always this one person that stood out. And a friend of mine, his aunt, great aunt, I want to say, she was the organist piano player at the time. She did a little bit of singing, but there was always one person that stood out in church, and you would be like, wow, Yeah. And I can remember my mom was like, I'm gonna put y'all in choir, me and my brother, and I was like, yeah, cool, I'm cool with it, but I don't think we really went to the rehearsals and stuff like that, but we talked about it. But later on, after, and I was about, I would say 10 years old at the time. Mm-hmm. Well, later on, 4th Missionary Baptist Church released an album, a gospel album.
Oh, nice.
Record, rather. It was more than one song, and one of these famous producers actually sampled from it. One of the East Coast producers that does a lot of sampling. He sampled something from 4th Missionary Baptist Church's album. But I wanted to talk about that because there's always one vocalist who stands out when you're in church, whether it's male, whether it's female, but they just have that voice and that tone that just grabs you, and it gives you that goosebump factor.
Yeah.
If you know what the goosebump factor is, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you hear their voice, it just gives you chills.
Already.
Right.
So it's a few R&B singers that released albums that actually started out in church. So now I'm gonna tell you who the first person who you can't deny the voice. You can tell she started out in church.
Who's that?
Whitney Houston.
Already. Bro.
Chill factor.
Yeah.
She gonna give you the chill
Hey
factor
man,
every time.
Whitney could sing any song. I don't care what it was. She made it sound good. She just had that vocal appearance that just stood out.
When you mentioned Goosebumps, Slash, that was the first name that popped in my head.
Oh, Whitney.
Yeah.
Whitney.
Yep.
Yeah. Whitney will give you that goosebump factor, man. So she was one of the world's best vocalists, actually, when it comes to R&B music. Now, she did start in church, and her people kind of didn't like the fact of her doing R&B music, and they called it secular music back in the day.
Yeah.
Rhythm and blues. Also, now, she had the voice as she started in church, but Ray used church music to create R&B from. Now, Ray Charles, actually.
Okay.
He did that. So I like what he did, and if you go back and watch the movie, it'll kind of show you that he used gospel music and did R&B vocals over it. But that's completely different. But Ray had a nice voice too. Now, whether he started in church or not, I don't know. But he used church music to create his records. But yeah, Whitney had one of the greatest sounds again, man, and rest her soul. rest in peace, Whitney. She did it, and I think a lot of artists such as Mariah Carey came behind her, using that sound, because Mariah Carey had that same tone to where she could hit any high note. She can hold a note as long as possible.
Right.
But she just really did a thing with that. So the next person, Toni Braxton.
Tony was gospel.
I didn't know she was there.
Yeah, I didn't know she.
Toni
was in church.
started in church, and she had a really God-fearing family. So that's what made her start in church. And remember, they came up with the group, the Braxtons. So that was all of them. All of her siblings, they all had a group called the Braxtons, and they started out doing R&B music. But again, Toni Braxton started in church. So she had a really good voice too, and now Toni Braxton's voice doesn't stand out as much as Whitney's to me.
No, not at all.
But
it's
I
really
think
no comparison.
It's no comparison.
No.
But I think she really does a good job with getting her stuff across. And some kind of way in her career, she got sick or something was going on with Toni Braxton. I don't remember what it was.
There was an illness that she
I
had.
thought-
I don't want to make up anything. I think
Yeah,
it was sickle cell.
I want to say allegedly sickle cell. Like,
yeah, sickle cell.
oh,
No, her son.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
what
her son had sickle cell or something like that. I don't want to give it on, put it on her.
Now,
oh no, he's autistic.
He's autistic.
Yeah, she has
okay.
autistic
Now
son.
wasn't she dating Birdman
Yeah,
at one while?
at one point.
Yeah. So now her album, the first album that she dropped solo, was released on LaFace Records.
Classic album.
Yeah, and that was her self-titled debut in 1993, and it reached #1 on the Billboard 200 charts, which that's good. Out of 200 songs,
yeah.
you got
You and
#1 spot.
What was that? Unbreak My Heart. That's the.
It was on that one.
It was on,
On
yeah,
that
because that
album.
was her self-titled album. I don't know which song actually hit Billboard, but I'm guessing it was the whole album.
Yeah, I mean, shit. That's one of those
Name
that you
it.
could play from start to finish, and several of them probably would have, like Flash said, hit #1 on Billboard.
Right.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you can't deny a #1 on Billboard track. That means that it was really, really a good song. Now I'm gonna go to a legendary soul singer, born in Mississippi, raised in Chicago. He was the son of a reverend, Sam Cooke.
Sam Cooke.
Now,
Okay.
I didn't know he started in church. But some of his music was actually classified as soul.
That's
When
what I was gonna say. He
had that soulful voice. But a lot of soulful singers started in church.
That's true.
Yep.
That's where you get the feeling. It's the soul in your voice that really makes you listen to it. You gotta have that appeal for people, because that's what they're looking for. It's not just about having a strong vocal or a loud vocal. The soul is
soul.
the feeling.
The passion.
Yeah, because you
Passion.
to sing.
you
and most gospel singers have that passion to
right.
sing.
You've
Right.
seen people that are R&B singers. I don't want to put no names out there, and then they try to do a soul, a gospel song, and they don't. Even though they do R&B
Real
very good,
yeah.
they try to do gospel. It just don't come out right.
Prime example, to me, and I may be wrong, but this is just how I feel. Al Green. Al Green had great soul music, but then when you hear his gospel, you kind of know it was on the edge. You know what I'm saying? Now, Al Green was a good singer. I love his voice. Love some of the songs that he sung, but it just didn't fit when he did gospel music.
Yes.
I can remember one song. If I can remember the name of it now, which I probably can't, because sometimes my mentals don't work like that. But
That's Cyrus, comedian, 96 itis.
I got it from him. But my mom used to listen to him on Sundays when we would go to church.
Yeah.
Al Green's gospel music, Precious Lord.
Yeah.
Now that was a good one that he did. I like that version of Precious Lord that Al Green did. But again, I don't know whether he started in church or not. But yeah, Sam Cooke started in church, and he crossed over into the pop charts, and he hit the top 40 charts. You know, so but the worst part about this is Sam Cooke was killed in Los Angeles in 1964 at the age of 33.
Man. Yeah.
Sad how, we have a lot of people that have the right mind frame on some of Sam Cooke's songs. If you listen to him, he was really trying to educate us on life. And it's sad that we lose them so early in life.
Too soon.
You know, we lose them extremely too soon.
You got Sam Cooke on there. I wonder if we have a current R&B artist. I wonder if he's on your list.
I have two in mind. I have a current female and I have a
current male,
a legend male.
Yeah.
So I wonder if Usher is one of them.
No.
Okay, well Usher.
I knew Usher did. I mean,
Now,
look at the name.
Did you know he was born in Dallas, Texas?
Now that I didn't know.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't know he was born in
Usher
Dallas.
born in Dallas, Texas, raised in Tennessee. Got his start in church, in a church choir in Chattanooga at age 9.
Yeah.
You
Now
know?
I knew that. Yeah.
So his mom and his grandmother, you know, realized he had a singing ability, and then they moved to Atlanta, Georgia.
Even after hearing that though, I just don't see Usher. I can't see him singing a gospel song. You know what I mean?
That's because your image of him is
R&B.
R&B,
Right.
But had you been introduced to him when he was doing gospel, or if he had done it, well, had you been introduced to him early on when he was doing gospel, then you could possibly vision it. But right now, all you see is some R&B type stuff.
Well, I take that back. Yeah, I take that back. I think he sung at a funeral.
He was only
back.
9 years old singing in church.
Right.
But his first record deal that he sung professionally, he was 13 years old.
13.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he won a Grammy Award for it. And over the years, he sold over 80 million records worldwide. So one of the most successful R&B artists of our generation started out singing in church. But this is another reason why church is important. And not saying that you need to be holier than thou. I'm not saying that, you know, but you need to know who God is.
You need to know that.
Because if you don't, he gives you the direction on every move that you make. And when God calls, somebody answers.
Yeah, it's important that we all have a relationship with him, man.
Yep, you know, so shout out Usher, man. I really didn't know you started out in church, man, but good deal, man. You're doing pretty good, man. Here's an old one. Didn't know she started out in church. Diana Ross. I did not know Diana Ross.
Yeah, that makes two of us. I didn't think that either, but again, my first introduction to Diane was when, Supreme. So
Supreme,
I
right.
definitely didn't.
Now, she was born in Detroit. So she had humble beginnings in church, of course. She first sang at her grandfather's church. Now, her grandfather had a church that she sung in, which was a Baptist church in Alabama. And she was 7 years old. And she sung with her siblings. And they were all raised by her grandparents.
Yep.
Because her mom had tuberculosis. So she started out in church, didn't know that, didn't know her family owned a church. But again,
now that part I didn't know. I knew she, yeah. I didn't know she owned a church.
A lot of the greats, man, they starting in church.
Yeah.
And I didn't know Diana Ross started in church. So now here we have Brandy. Did y'all know Brandy started in church?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to say I did know that.
Yeah.
At the age of 2.
She was singing young.
Brandy was 2 years old, man.
She was singing young.
Baby Whitney.
Yeah.
Well, her dad, which is Willie Norwood, he was a gospel vocalist and a choir director. So that's what got her, pulled her into it. And of course, that's what you do when you're a choir director. You want your child to come to church and sing in the choir.
Sing in the choir.
Which is nothing wrong with that. But see, a lot of times, that's what it takes to make some of these people. Now, Joe Jackson and the Jackson family, I don't think they sung in church.
I don't know.
I don't think
I would
they
be
did.
surprised if that wasn't.
I don't even remember on the movie that they
Because
they did go to church in the movie. In the
they
Jackson
may have
family.
went to church, but what I know about their music career was the fact that Joe Jackson was a musician before them.
Mm-hmm.
And he, introduced them to the music and ended up making them superstars.
Yeah.
The world's greatest musical family is the Jacksons, you know, but I don't know if they sung in church.
Allegedly, you know what I just thought about? Allegedly, they were Jehovah's Witnesses, and Jehovah's Witnesses don't
Right.
have a choir.
They don't.
Yeah, so
You're right.
yeah, so
They
yes,
were Jehovah's Witnesses. You are definitely correct.
Great fact there, comedian.
Forgot about that. They don't have choirs.
Yeah.
Everybody sings together.
Now, I bet you this the guy on your list,
We gonna see.
John Legend.
Nope.
Nope.
Oh, I can tell by his voice that yeah.
Yeah, well, you would have to.
It's nothing but soul coming from his voice.
He's got a voice to where he can sing anything.
It's soothing to listen to.
He can sing
one of those
anything.
soothing voices,
I've
yeah.
heard him on hip hop songs, and he crashed them.
He got one that I was just listening to. That's so crazy with Rick Ross. Man,
Right. Rick
you
Ross.
cannot hard imagine that
He
one.
got one with
that one. I love that one.
Is it
That
Rick
shit-
Ross and Nipsey Hussle?
No, it's just
John Legend
It's
on
two.
there?
It's Nipsey and
He got one with Nipsey, and I know for a fact. I don't know if Rick Ross is on it, but I know it's John Legend, Nipsey Hussle, and DJ Khaled.
Oh
is in
yeah,
the
you're
video.
right. You're right.
That is that Rick Ross
Yeah,
on there too.
I believe
with him?
you're right. Yeah.
I ain't never seen that.
Hey,
one.
that's a jam, man. But I've heard him on a lot of stuff. He just got that sound now. He started playing piano at the age of 5. His dad was a drummer, and his mother sang and directed the church choir.
Man, he wrote for a lot of people. He wrote
Yeah, he
for
did.
Luther. He wrote for people. He was already writing
Yeah.
in the
Before he
80s.
became
Before
famous.
he
Yeah.
he didn't start singing until 10
I
years later.
didn't know he wrote for Luther.
Man,
though.
he wrote for Luther, Mary J. He wrote for a lot of people, man. A lot of people we didn't even know
He
about.
came from a musical
Yeah,
family.
yeah,
His grandmother was the church organist.
for
I
real.
mean, yeah, his dad played the drums. His mom directed the choir. His grandmother was the organist. So there's no way he could have not been
Yeah.
singing in the choir or
Right.
starting out in church. That's where you get your best start. You know, now whether you turn to secular music, a lot of times they didn't like for you to switch over to the R&B music because it was like how you come from gospel to talking about this, you know,
Yeah.
sex thing. Because that's what R&B music really
Turned
is.
into, yeah.
you know, at the end of the day.
But it was more discreet. Like, you know, between the sheets.
Right.
We didn't get into put you to bed. We didn't do that.
Right. It wasn't direct.
Yeah.
It was indirect.
It was indirect. You
Right.
know, we in between the sheets and, hey girl, and that's it. And now it's, I'm gonna put you to bed or no.
Yeah.
It's too direct now.
So John Legend, throughout his career, he's got 12 Grammys under his belt, and I'm sure there'll be many more as he has a very promising career with the type of music that he's doing. Now, we know this person started out in church. If you've watched the movie, you've seen it. Aretha Franklin.
Yes, sir.
She's the queen of soul.
Of course.
Rest in peace to Aretha Franklin.
One of my favorite gospel albums
Yeah.
is by Aretha.
Yep. And she started out at her father's church, New Bethel Baptist. And of course, her dad was the minister, C.L. Franklin. So he encouraged her to sing in the choir, and she began performing solos at an early age of 12 years old. So, she's pretty good, but Aretha, she is the queen of soul. She had a voice. She had one of those church voices on the R&B songs that she
Powerful.
sang. Powerful. Like, I mean, she could hit a high note and hold it for so long, like she didn't need wind to do it.
Right. And you mentioned she started at 12. She had that strong voice at 12.
Yeah, she had a strong voice at 12.
Yeah.
And she had, of course, her family members, they sung too, but they didn't, go as far as she did with the career, because once her career started, it was hard for the others to get in there. She was taking the light from everybody,
Yeah.
So she died in 2018 at the age of 76, and so far she's the only artist that I know that had a funeral with a wardrobe change.
Several of them.
Several
Yes,
wardrobe changes during. That funeral was long, man.
Yeah.
The
5 to
news
6
coverage
We
hours.
just
Yeah.
changed the wardrobes. That's what
Yeah.
we
It
do.
was long, man.
Per her request.
Per
They definitely
her request.
honored.
That's what she wanted,
Yeah.
So that's good. Now here's one, Faith Evans.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's once you come over and make love to me, girl. Yeah,
She
that's
had
her.
a she had a Christian home, and it led her to singing in church at the age of 2.
Yeah.
So a lot of these people started singing at the age of 2, and I think that's a great start, because this is when you realize that your child have this gift. It's best to start them at a young
Early age, right?
That way it becomes a part of who they are, and you don't have to do much training. Now, she sang in Emmanuel Baptist Church, which is in Newark, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. She began performing with jazz bands in her teen years, and then she ultimately signed a deal with Bad Boy in 1994. She still sounds good. I still listen to the songs that she sings. And man, Faith got a real nice, soothing voice as well.
Does.
And it's powerful.
Yes.
She's got range, so I can see her being, one of those church kids that can really sing. This gotta be the guy that you was talking about, K-Money.
Yep.
I keep coming to you because I keep seeing these guys on here, and it's gotta be one of these. Anthony Hamilton?
Yes.
That's not the person.
That was
Not the
me.
one.
For me, it was
For you.
because when you said Sam Cooke, and I thought about
Right.
Anthony Hamilton, and another reason why I said when how you was younger, you didn't want to see your mama dance or sing. When we was young, we didn't like that. I know I did. I was like, I hated it. I was like, stop, mama, stop. So, but my mom used to sing just like Anthony Hamilton. Now that I think about it, every time I hear him sing, I think about my mom.
So I'll tell you, since you brought that part, my mom this was every Saturday morning. And most black families, we cleaned up on Saturday mornings. The music is on. People singing. And this is how you get in the house clean, because it makes you feel good enough to clean up. Man, the house be spick and span by 12 o'clock.
Yep.
But my mom, she's kind of the reason for me being interested in music. Not just to say her, but because her dad was a musician, a well-known musician or artist from Louisiana in New Orleans. She kind of put the musical instruments in front of me at a young age, and she would sing and dance, but she wasn't the artist type of person. She wasn't the dancing type of person. But again, it's your people who kind of push you to do it. And I wish I would have started in church. Now, I worked in churches, doing sound, but I never really went in the church and said, I'm a singer in the choir
too. Yeah.
But Anthony Hamilton actually started singing in his church choir at 17 years old, and he was born in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, he's from Charlotte. Okay.
Yep. He sung at his school award-winning choir also, and he did pretty good, and he co-wrote songs with Donnell Jones. Now Donnell Jones sound like he could have started off in church. He's got that smooth.
He got a smooth voice, more of a yeah.
So would you give him more of a background singer?
Who? Donnell Jones? Yeah.
Donnell Jones can.
Donnell Jones jamming, man.
Especially his first album.
That's what I'm saying.
No, the album's jamming, but he's not
Donnell
a Joe.
Jones.
Doesn't hold the notes like the Joe, like a Joe or like a Brian McKnight or something like that.
When you say Joe, I
holding-
like Joe.
Joe is more smooth too.
Joe is really smooth, man, and he got good. But I don't hear him as a church in church.
I can see Donnell.
I can see Donnell though.
I can see Donnell. I can see Joe more than Donnell, but
Really?
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know, man. Joe kind of fancy, man.
I thought Donnell was more fancy.
I mean, I don't know, but to me, Joe is kind of fancy. But the only reason I say that is because I like the type of music and his beats and the way he come off on them is kind of fancy to me. But when you think of Donnell Jones, he's gonna ride it. It's gonna be smooth, and he's gonna make sure you hear his tone. His voice is gonna open up, and it's gonna give you those dynamics.
Yep.
Whereas to Joe gonna get right to the point, bam, and he jamming because the shit he's saying, you kind of like, damn. Joe,
Okay,
all
with
right.
this, Key Sweat, where y'all put him? You think he can?
No
Okay,
church.
that's what I was gonna say. Okay,
No,
I just want to
no
make
church.
sure.
Because
no church.
in reality, no disrespect, Keith Sweat,
Yeah.
but he's not a strong vocalist.
Yeah. I agree.
He had a good writer.
Yeah.
I think that's what helped him a lot because Al B. Sure was a good writer,
He's a good writer.
and that's where Keith got his sound from. But I can sing like Keith.
Yeah.
You know what
I think all of us can.
So-
if I'm not mistaken, all of us.
So yeah, I wouldn't say that he started out in church.
Right.
Now here's one. I know Freddie G. I know this is somebody you probably didn't know. She started out in church. You might know. Monica.
Yeah.
You knew she started in church?
Yeah.
Well, she started she was native Georgia, from Georgia.
Georgia, yes, right.
I love Monica.
Yeah,
I want to keep putting her in New York.
She sang in church, with other people. Her mom, she followed in her mom's footsteps, and then she performed at Jones Hill Chapel United Methodist Church in Newman, Georgia, at the age of 10 years old. So, she became the youngest member of a traveling gospel choir called Charles Thompson and the Majestics. Now, I never knew that. I never knew.
She, Monica has always had that church, that churchy sound.
That soul.
But she has always been like one of my favorites.
And
I just think she's so underrated.
Now both of them, we talked about Brandy earlier, and Monica, and they got that song together. What is it? The Boy Is Mine, or
The Boy Is Mine.
is that what it's called?
Yeah.
But they did that song together, man, and they both sound like angels.
They do.
Singing.
They do.
Here's one. We don't discuss her much on this Monday show, but she's definitely a person to be reckoned with. Kelly Price.
Was she on one of them R&B diva shows and just?
I don't know.
What you think they tarnished their name when they end
Once
up
they
on
go to
reality
them,
shows?
Angie Stone. I used to
Yeah,
love
it
me some
kinda messed
Angie
them up.
Stone, and when she went to that show, I dislike her
Because you start getting too much personal
Yeah, you
information.
see a different side, like
know,
more of their personal lives.
I was like, ain't nobody colder than Angie Stone until I seen her on them shows. That's why I don't even watch them shows no more.
Well, Kelly
I'm
Price.
surprised. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Kelly Price, she started singing in church at an early age in her hometown of Queens, New York, at the age of 2. So she joined the children's choir and sang her first solo at 3. So she's always been, in the gospel realm. And I would like to hear a gospel record from her now. Although she's done Sunday's Best, Kelly Price, man, she had it's one album that I would really listen to over and over and over. Only one of her albums. I don't know how many she did, but one of her albums, man, was like, she had so many dynamics on the album from just her voice. It puts you in the mind of a Aretha Franklin. You know what I mean?
And R. Kelly was writing for her. He actually had a duet with her, I think.
Yeah, Kelly was doing songs, and then she did songs with Mariah Carey. And she's also Grammy nominated and a platinum selling singer. So, shout out Kelly Price. Wish we could hear more from you. Now, this the last one, and then y'all can tell me who y'all think was church singers. Marvin Gaye.
Of course, yeah.
Never knew he started in church.
I mean, you could hear it in his voice. You don't have to you could just listen and you can tell.
Well, his dad was a minister. I didn't know that.
Jamie Foxx, look at his voice.
So you think he started in church?
I know he did.
I know Jamie
I
did
know
as well.
for a fact he did. Yeah.
So it's plenty others.
Yeah.
That starts in church. So church is a good place to get your start.
Yeah.
If you're a singer, if you're a vocalist, and I mean, singing for the Lord,
you're gonna win every time.
You need Him in your life.
You get a good feeling.
Yeah.
And it's all about the feeling you give people, like the goosebump factor that I talked about earlier. Most gospel singers can give that. R. Kelly. He sound like he could have started in church.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The strength in his voice, I mean, was awesome. He could have been the best gospel singer. I just think he should have been a little closer, to God throughout the mistakes that he made in his career. I think it would have helped him.
Yep.
He's always done positive songs. He's released positive records.
Well, he actually on the double CD album. He had a gospel album.
Yeah, he saved me.
Happy People album.
Uh-huh.
That was a double album, and one album was dedicated straight to gospel music.
Yeah.
And actually, that's a part of my gospel playlist. A lot of different songs that they have on there. It's really
It
good.
was time for him to do that, man, because he was going through so much in his career.
And Comedian 96, you mentioned Kelly Price with R. Kelly. They actually had a song. I think it was called Three-Way Phone Call.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what it was
And
called.
it's pretty good, man.
Is that I Believe I Can Fly considered gospel? Or was that one of the songs that's on that double?
No, it's not on the double CD.
it's definitely a positive message.
I believe
That's a
Like
soundtrack.
Space Jam.
Space Jam soundtrack. Yeah.
But it's a positive message.
I'm surprised there's one singer you haven't mentioned.
Yeah, you ain't lying. Because I'm finna mention it for you. I'm gonna mention her. This was remember I had a guy.
Yeah.
You got him. The girl was Lauryn Hill. You gotta if you Sister Act 2. I done watched it about 50 times.
Right.
And every time, man, I ain't no punk or nothing, but you gotta cry, man.
That's a good movie, bro.
It's I mean,
it's a
every
good movie.
time when she sing, because I hate every time when she stop. Every time I watch it, she stop when she be singing when she be singing in Eyes on the Sparrow with the girl sitting down there, and she sits and they stop, and every time she look over and stop, I be mad. I be like, girl, keep going. I be with the other lady, man, keep going, girl. That girl put chills in you when you, and even at the end, doesn't matter. That girl can sing.
She can.
Yeah, Lauryn Hill, she jamming.
You think she did gospel? She
It's
had
possible.
to have singing like that.
It's possible, man. Like I say, not many of the greats didn't sing in church, because what it is the greatest that we hear been singing all their life. It's just when they families recognize that they had a gift, the first thing they do is put them in a church choir.
Yeah.
Which is the first thing you're supposed to do. So, I mean, it's a lot of them that I didn't mention that I'm sure y'all know, that may have. Now, I would say one person who I think could have really been good in church, in a church choir or singing lead in church, Teddy Pendergrass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
he definitely could have.
Hands down.
Yeah.
He would have sung, the people out the church. His voice was so strong.
Freddie G, I cut you off. I'm sorry. Was my Lauryn Hill your pick?
No. Actually, I got somebody that actually released 3 gospel albums before y'all even knew who he was.
Wow.
Ooh.
But okay. JoJo and KC.
Oh.
So KC was a gospel singer, and his name was Little Cedric and the Haley Singers.
Didn't know that.
Didn't know
And
that.
they released 3 gospel albums. He was singing as a kid.
Always investigate.
So
Investigative minds want to know.
So,
One
yeah,
more.
yeah.
Rachel for real. That's
Yeah, she jamming.
that voice.
Yeah, she jamming. And you went somewhere where a lot of people don't even know who she is.
She don't even know.
I know she is. She got a song with Will Downing that I
Yeah.
love.
Yeah, Rachel for real. She's
Yeah.
jamming. And now some of the gospel singers, of course, Donnie McClurkin, all of these people are good. And I'm sure that they started, in church, and they kept that gospel feel. But
Man, I thought Luther may have started in church,
Yeah.
but I don't think he did. I was
I don't
reading
know.
No.
But man, Luther would be great in
Would
church.
have been great,
Would
yeah.
have been great.
Yeah.
And another one that we both fans of, Slash, is Jasmine Sullivan.
You showed
Boy,
right.
it's gotta be.
How did I
us 3
forget?
too. I'm a fan too. She.
I remember me and you
Yeah.
different on Jasmine Sullivan and
and-
somebody else.
Beyonce.
No,
It was
hell
somebody-
no.
it was
Man,
somebody
Jasmine
you
Sullivan
kept saying.
take her out the water.
And I told
Blow-
you nobody touches Jasmine
Ain't
Sullivan.
nobody touching Jasmine.
At
Only
all.
other person. Oh, Lettucey.
Yeah.
Man, is you crazy?
Say, man.
Lettucey.
Now she probably could have started church.
Yeah.
She's good.
Yeah,
I'm not taking that
I'm
away
sorry,
from her, but I still feel the
you
same
need
way.
to listen to Lettucey. I'm telling you.
Jasmine Sullivan cannot be touched by
I
none
feel
of
you.
these females
I
out here
feel
singing,
you,
bro.
but you gotta listen to that.
I know what Lettucey sound. I love Lettucey.
Yeah.
Her and Jaheim song together.
Yeah.
Oh man, that song jamming. But I love Lettucey. Her
Yeah.
whole album, I like it.
It's
but when
hard.
it
That's
comes
a
to
hard
Jasmine
pick,
Sullivan, hey man, there is
I'm with
no
you, man.
artist.
I'm with you.
There's
That's-
no female artist out here touching Jasmine Sullivan. I will put my last dollar.
No, Lettucey.
man.
I'm telling you, Lettucey, like right. I'm sorry.
See what you're saying? Lettucey.
It's hard because I like
Let us
Jasmine
see.
too.
that Jasmine Sullivan is the best.
Hey, now I mentioned Beyonce, but y'all do know that she did start in church.
Right, she did.
We have to mention H-Town's own.
And thanks for that. Not to forget about Beyonce, but Beyonce has covered so much in her career, man. I'm sure it's nothing she haven't really done. She's the top R&B workaholic. Let me say that.
Yeah.
Because she worked for herself, but she's a workaholic, man. She's done pretty much everything, you know. And a lot of these singers that are out probably did, you know, have some sort of start out in church, but that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
So, in closing, most of the R&B artists, if you're out here and you're an aspiring R&B artist, I think the best thing to do would be to get into a church or be a part of a church choir, and at least try to do a lead for the church, you know, maybe once or twice, just to kind of see if it's what you like doing. So what I want y'all to do before I get out of here, I want y'all to make sure you go and hit that subscribe button. If you go and follow us on YouTube at the 52 Scott Podcast, go and hit that subscribe button, man. It's free. What you doing? Come back. Fuck with us.
So that's all, y'all, for this edition of Music Monday. Thanks for tuning in. Come back tomorrow and check out True Tuesday with K Money. Hit that like button, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook, The 52 Scott Podcast. Follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Scott Podcast.